away we go. It's Chicken Dinner, live from a hotel room in New York City, because of course it is, as we welcome you in. So excited to get ready for college football. We've got games this weekend, including a kickoff in Dublin, Ireland. And can't wait to talk to Brad Powers coming up later in the show, about 15 minutes from now, give or take, to prepare you for the test that is college football. I wanted to let you all know that today's episode of Chicken Dinner is sponsored by footballcontest.com. Serving Las Vegas contest players for 20 years. If you're in Vegas like I was last week, you hit up Maddie and Tony. Check it out, footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service. They got me signed up. I've got 3 survivors and 2 Westgate college football contests, which I'm sure we'll discuss ad nauseum over the next few months as we get ready to bet on college football and the NFL. I mentioned BP, about 7:15 Eastern from Covers and Hit the Books. At 7:35, we're going to talk to Max Meyer. He's from Phantom Odds. He just started that. It's his baby. It's the first odds engine for fantasy football, and it allows you to take your fantasy leagues, import them into Phantom Odds, create lines on the matchups, and it's really, really cool. Max will do sort of a show and tell because we do have the visual element on YouTube, on X. And then Corbie's back. Corbie Craig from Get Better Odds. I saw him in Vegas. Brought him out to Naked City, which, by the way, if you were at Naked City last week, thank you so much. The place was packed to the gills, and we were able to give away a college football entry and a proxy fee. Allegedly, Chris, the owner from Naked City, said that our crew ate over 700 chicken wings. Always cool to be a part of that and help other businesses that I love and respect dearly, help them make a little extra change, because we brought in a crew to Naked City. So if you were there last week, thank you so much. And now it's time to talk business. I have more money, and I think those of you that have listened to Bear Bets or Bet Sweats with Joe and myself, or read anything on Fox, or followed me on Twitter, whatever you do, however you consume all my bullshit, you know that I am just in love with this Toledo Rockets team this year. And this was discussed on a couple shows. The win total opened 8.5. And it was minus 110, minus 115 for a long time. That is no longer the case, unfortunately. And that's probably because of these platforms, because people listen and people bet. Toledo is a program unlike most in the back. A lot of these schools that have success are one-hit wonders in the sense that they have a good season, but NIL completely fucks them. Because if Bowling Green has a good team, or Ohio has a good team, or whoever, who comes calling at the end of a good year? Georgia, Texas, Oregon, whatever. These teams get rated in the portal because if you have a good season in the MAC or the Sun Belt or the Mountain West, wherever, it's never been more difficult to sustain success. However, Toledo may be one of those rare teams this year that's a non-Power 5 school, or Power 4 school, I guess, that didn't get absolutely pillaged in the portal. They got better on offense. Last year, they had a hard time running the football. So Jason Candle decides, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hit the portal. I'm going to go get a running back from Ohio State and another running back from Virginia Tech. Yeah, both of them at Toledo. That running game changed in one off season. And let's be real. The MAC defensive lines are not known for stopping power run. I don't think there's a team this year in the MAC that's going to stop that running game. And obviously, health is the great equalizer. But the best teams at Toledo under Jason Candle are run first, that set up everything through the pass, or through the run, like with the pass. They're running it, and you try and commit, they're going to kill you with the passing game. And this slot receiver, Junior Vanderos, if you don't know him, he's a little guy. It's like 5'8", 5'9". He's been eating teams alive, and his life will be easier because of the running backs that they brought in the portal. And Tucker Gleason, their quarterback's been there a long, long time. It's like his 5th year at Toledo. Their D-line's always good. They've got a couple NFL guys in the secondary. Remember, Quinyon Mitchell, who played for the Eagles last year and won a Super Bowl ring, he's a Toledo kid. So they can find these guys in the secondary. If they can split early, they take on Kentucky week 1 and Western Kentucky in week 2. If they can go 1-1 in those two, I think that's a 10-win team. So if you have the 8.5 in front of you, if you can still do minus 120, minus 125, do it. But if you miss that wager, it's one of my many wagers on the Fox story that I'd like to share with you right now. They made me do, not made me do, they wanted me to do the annual future story. And here it is on foxsports.com. From the Buckeyes to the Bills, 7 football futures to bet on right now. So let's spin this a little bit forward. If you can't lay the 110, 115, 20, 25-ish, that's probably long gone, I think it's a really solid bet to take them to win the MAC. And that's plus 230. As I write here, it's moved 30 cents at a couple shops. That's a bet that I think is a winner. I know taking plus 230, the favorite to win the MAC, some people are going to say, oh, well, I could pick that myself. Well, could you? Could you pick Toledo? I know you could take Texas or Ohio State, Penn State, or Clemson. I don't know that many people would roll out of bed and land on Toledo. So that's one of my favorite college teams this year. And I've sort of keyed them in a lot of ways. Got them over the win total. I did bet them week number 1. That number's come crashing down. There were 10.5s and 11s when that opened. I saw a number the other day. It was like 8. So Toledo's getting hit. Toledo's respected by many people that I respect. And I also have them to win the MAC. I think that's a really good bet. And some books will let you parlay Toledo to win the MAC with Penn State to win the Big Ten or whatever. I'm not going to throw out a bunch of teams because it would sound like those are my bets. I think Toledo is a team you want to have stock in this year. It makes me uncomfortable, honestly, how much Toledo over 8.5 and Toledo MAC that I have. Another team that I really want to talk about. Let's scroll down a little bit. You can read this full story in your spare time, but it's Minnesota. And I've written about them, talked about them all over the place. Even money to make the playoffs at FanDuel. I think they have one of the best 53-man rosters in football, which, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse. But I'm not afraid of J.J. McCarthy coming in and sucking it up. He's not your traditional first-year quarterback. And with O'Connell on the offensive side and Flores on the defensive side, those guys stay out of each other's way. You know, a lot like Andy Reid and Spags in Kansas City. You need to have solidarity on both sides of the ball. And with those two coordinators, the sky's the limit there. Of course, the kid could come in and struggle, but what is he, 27-1 as a college quarterback? Wins a national title? All he did was hand the ball off. No, he didn't. He's actually very good under duress. One of the best college quarterbacks in the country under duress in his last season. And he could throw on the run. Hell, he ended Nick Saban's career at Alabama. All he did was hand off. Not true. Don't be lazy. They should be a playoff team. So at even money, that's a bet that, yes, I would definitely make. And last year, those of you know, we did really, really well with Saquon Barkley. Betting them 25-1, 30-1 to win the Offensive Player of the Year. One of the most common questions I've gotten this offseason. Do we like Barkley again? No. 550, 6-1, 650? Absolutely not. It's very funny because they've sort of done a flip. If you really think about the chronological order of it, Christian McCaffrey wins the Offensive Player of the Year 2 years ago. So last summer, he's 6-1. Barkley didn't have a great year with the Giants, and he floated out to 25-30. He wins the award last year, and what do you know? Barkley is now 550, 650, and McCaffrey floats out. 22, 25. I think there's a 27 in Vegas still. 22 is probably the best American price now. Vegas price might be higher, 27. Anything over 20, I think it's a bet. The other thing is, when I bring that up, people are like, oh, well, he got hurt last year. Well, no shit. It's built into the number. Numbers are big because guys either didn't perform or guys weren't on the field. But I'm not betting a guy 5-6-1 to win an award. Just not happening. And the accounts from San Francisco are very good, that he looks like his old self. If you doubt it, fine. Don't bet it. I assure you I bet it. And cleaned a couple of those 25s off the board. You have to think about this too. San Francisco's schedule is so easy this year. Win totals 10.5. They're going to be up in a lot of these games. And if they're up in games, what do? Run the ball down your throat. Give him the ball. Get out of his way. I've also found myself a little San Francisco heavy this year too. To win the NFC, it's crazy. I'm having sort of this deja vu moment where last year I was Barkley guy and Eagles guy. But the Barkley and Eagles of last year is the Niners. They've done a flip. It's the inverse now. So everybody that was talking about San Francisco last offseason is talking about Philly this offseason. And I'm going the other way because the prices are much different. 10-1-ish to win the NFC is crazy. And I'm telling you, much like I said last summer, the best hire of the offseason was Vic Fangio going to the Eagles. He fixed the entire defense in one season. The players were there. The schematics were bad. Now, San Francisco doesn't have Philly's players, but Robert Saleh going into San Francisco is a huge deal. Huge deal. And I love their pick. Williams on the line from the SEC. They got younger. They got faster. They lost some guys name value-wise, but they are going to be very, very live to win 10, 11, 12 games, get into the playoffs, and then you got to deal with Shanahan and Saleh, another combo that I love. If you can't tell, I love these coordinator combos. Last year it was Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. And, of course, last thing before we get to Brad Powers, you read it right there. I've done this 6 years in a row, bet Kansas City to win the Super Bowl. Nice call, nerd. Well, they're around 6-1 every year. And if they've won 3 of them, you do the math, that's 18 units. If you want to say 3 losses, I get it. That's fine. But you've also been in the Super Bowl twice. So if you had a Kansas City 6-1 bet last year, you could have done whatever you wanted in the Super Bowl with Philly. You could have either, ridden it out or free rolled it with Philly. All that said, Josh Allen's year. I think this is their time. And I think they are going to get through Kansas City for the first time. 4 losses in the playoffs for this guy, Josh Allen. 4 of them. And 3 of them by 1 score. Well, I'm jumping on right now. That's my Super Bowl pick, Buffalo Bills. All right. It's enough of my jammering. Let's get to somebody who's much smarter than me. He's from Covers. He's from Hit the Books podcast. And he was on Bet Sweats this morning. So I missed you dearly, Brad Powers. I wanted to see your face again. What's up?
Not much. I don't know about smarter. Definitely not better looking.
Well, I'll meet you on that one. Let's start with how many bets you've made, because people always want to know how many bets has Brad Powers made before the season starts. And I always guess high and the number's always higher. You have how many wagers so far?
212. Which is way down for me compared to last year where I had well over 300. So just the markets, I would say week 1 was a little sharper than usual this year. Some other markets, it's not there. And then if it is there, unfortunately, they're not letting me what I want to bet on something. So I just pass. So we're a little down this year. But I'll also say this. I'm just not going to sit here and bitch about limits and whatnot and markets being sharper. I also think there's more uncertainty than ever before. I mean, if you really are in the weeds and looking at returning production, it's the lowest ever in college football. Bill Connolly's written about it. It's even significantly lower than what we were here at last year. So yes, the portal has something to do with that. But it's, a lot of it's, all the COVID kids are finally, done with eligibility. So this year, a lot more uncertainty than usual. And I didn't get a chance to watch 60 spring games like I have been the last decade. They only televised like 12 of them this year.
Well, I think the hardest thing for me, and again, you've been deeper in the weeds on this than I have, I think it's very difficult to gauge talent that's transferring to a new program, because the talent may have worked at school X, but just because a player leaves school X for school Y and got the bag or a lot of cash or whatever, doesn't mean he's going to fit with that scheme or those coaches. So while on paper, I understand when a guy would say, well, this team added so-and-so in the portal and got this guy and that guy, just because they added guys doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fit. And then if a coordinator leaves or this coach leaves, like there's a lot of uncertainty to me, not only for what these programs will look like, but but that these players that are leaving for greener pastures, they're not always greener on the other side.
And not only that, that's kind of like an apples to apples as far as like comparing a player leaving for Georgia for Ohio State or something like that. And then you factor in like all the G5 kids going to P4. Does they maybe great talents at the G5 level, but does that translate to P4? I don't know. And then at the G5 level, you got a bunch of FCS kids coming up. And I got to tell you, really diving in, this is the first year where a lot of D2, not FCS, even lower than that, D2 kids are transferring in. I have no idea. I don't care if they're a D2 All-American, how their talent is going to look at a couple levels up. So, again, more uncertainty. But the good thing is we got college football this week. So we won't have much uncertainty for much longer.
Speaking of good things, and don't worry, we're going to talk about some future bets, and Brad's got bets for week 0, week 1. Don't want all of his bets because that's his business, but man, this thing is packed. And if you're watching on YouTube and X, if you go to my Twitter, I'm giving away 2 copies as I do every summer. Brad's very kind, gives me the guide ahead of time, and it's chock with information. I see like 54 pages this year. You break down all these teams. So if you're there on Twitter, all you got to do is retweet this tweet, which already has over 100 retweets. And I'm going to pick 2 out of the hat at some point tomorrow and give away 2 of these guides. They're sensational, man. And I know people talk about Phil Steele and people talk about all these Athlon sports magazines. And now I don't even read that shit. I read the Brad Powers guide. I haven't read a magazine in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. Like this thing, it has to make you so proud to do this. It's a long labor of love, but when you're done with it, man, does it fuck.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's different. I mean, if you're looking for, 1,000+ words on each and every team, you're not getting it. But if you just want gambling and numbers and projections and bets in every single market that's available, well, you're going to get them. So if you want a listing of those 200+ bets that I made and want to see what I bet and see if it's still available, some of it's still available, you check out the guide. And, it's probably more college football gambling related material than any guide out there. But again, if you're looking to read, an expose on the starting quarterback for Tulane, I'm sorry, I ain't got that for you. But I do have quarterback values, point spread values for every starting quarterback.
Oh, don't worry. That was the first thing I screenshotted. I filed that away, man. I can find that at any time. So you've got the number from every starter to every backup. I don't want to waste any more time without turning the page and looking ahead. You told me in February or March, Penn State was going to be the highest power rated team in your rankings, but you do not have Penn State winning the national title. That's Alabama. Sell me on Alabama winning the whole thing. Why are you so high this year?
I just think there's more upside for Alabama than Penn State. Penn State's a more obviously known commodity as far as what they have coming back, the talent, the experience. But as far as having that extra gear in the postseason, I kind of like Alabama's roster a little bit better. And I like the potential of Ty Simpson, maybe not being, a Hall of Fame type quarterback or a Heisman winner, although I did bet him to win the Heisman. I just think they can get a lot better quarterback play in the passing game than what they got a year ago, at least from a consistent aspect. And that's why I think they just have a little bit more upside. It was between 2 teams to pick, and 2 teams that I bet. I've only bet 2 to win the national championship. Alabama's 1. That's the one I put the most money on. The other one's Notre Dame. Again, if CJ Carr, I just think one of those 2 quarterbacks is going to be a hit, and whatever one is, I think just has the most upside.
I only have 1 bet, and it's because I took a number. I don't probably shouldn't admit this. I don't think they're going to win the national title, but if they get in and they're better than market thinks, I'll be very pleased. I bet Clemson at 16-1.
I mean, it's they were as high. I wish I'd have had that. I'll say this. There's a few that I wish I had. Penn State. I didn't know Penn State was 16-1 when it opened. I didn't know Clemson was 40-1 when it opened in January. I was asleep at the wheel, I guess. So I'm not going to – I think Clemson – look, I bet them over the win total. I bet them to win the ACC. Bet them to make the playoff. Bet Kate Klubnik to win the Heisman. I'm all in on Clemson. It worries me that a lot of people – I'm not saying this to you. I'm talking to everybody seems to be on them. And when everybody goes one way, I like to maybe not go the other, but I get a little cautious as far as, continue to unload on what seems to be a very popular pick: Penn State, Clemson, Texas. And those are the 3 popular teams this year.
Oh, I preface that with I don't think they're going to win the title, so don't worry. But not everybody has 16-1. Like now
Yep.
they're 10-1. I saw a couple even lower than that. So look, 16 and 10 is a lot different. And I got a text the other day. Do we like Omarion Hampton still for offensive rookie? No, he's 8-1 now. He was 15. It blows my mind how some people just still aren't sensitive to price. Speaking of a price that's moved, we got, let's see, Cadillac John in here. I said off the top, I gave my spiel on Toledo, and I think I told you I'm heavy over 8.5, and I've been kind of gobbling up Toledo to win the MAC and parlaying that with other stuff. That number, man, I know you're probably ready to lay 7 with Kentucky because this thing was 11 in the summer, man.
Yeah, you know me very well. The only bet I have made so far in week 1, the last couple of days, recent bets, was I saw a 7 flash on Kentucky, and that was finally the buy price for me. Understand the original moves on Toledo, whether it be 11.5, 11, 10.5, 10. Understand all that. Numbers do matter. The fact that I am low on Kentucky, I bet Kentucky's win total under. My numbers say to bet Toledo over, although I haven't because it's tough trusting Jason Candle. But my numbers are screaming for it to bet over. And yet my numbers show value, though, on Kentucky. When I'm pessimistic on one, optimistic on the other, and it's telling me to bet the pessimistic one, that tells me that this has gone too far as this team. And one thing about week 1 is you don't get, once that steam starts rolling, you just don't get much resistance. We don't have any data points. Who really knows? And you just don't get a lot of resistance. So if you want to be contrarian, sometimes I think these get steamed a little too much.
Yeah, and that's why you always sort of jump ahead and hit the market. Can you kind of explain for those that aren't familiar with what you do? These lines open in Vegas, 2:00 Eastern? So, and this is the Sunday after the games. So these lines are up for a long time. And you're not going to get maybe as much as you want, but you're able to just grab those numbers on Sunday. Like, how many bets do you think you make on an average Sunday for college football the next week?
50 easily.
And you'll beat the line on how many?
All
of
at
them?
least 40. No, at least probably between 40 and 45.
And that just shows you that if you have a sense for where the market's going to go, I would highly advise people, look, if you're not in Nevada like Brad is, or not in a circus state, if you have a side that you like, you gotta get that number early. Now, you could come back the other way later in the week, but a lot of guys I know, they're not aware that they could have laid 4 on Sunday and could have laid 4.5 on Monday. And then on Thursday, when they finally get the itch to bet, oh, that side is now 6. And then by Saturday, it might be 7. And they're just like costing themselves so many points. Like, how many points per game do you think you'd cost yourself if you waited until Saturday with the way that you bet?
Historically, for me, my advantage is about 2 points a game. So pretty significant in a sport where every half point matters.
Yeah, and with totals, it could be even more. Like, I know you guys bet that Texas and Ohio State total at 50.5. That thing might get to 47.5. I know it's going to get, if it gets to 47, it's
it'll get resistance at 47. Yeah, it could close 47.5.
Yeah, but I mean, if it lands now 26-23, you're a winner, I'm a loser.
Yeah. And it happens more often than you think. I mean, I've charted the circa moves for 5 years. We're talking a couple thousand game sample size. And if you were to bet those, okay, you looked at the board, oh, these are the biggest moves of the week. These all move three or more points. Somebody knows something. I'm going to wait till, right before kickoff and make these same bets. Well, you wouldn't even hit 50%. If you were chasing then the biggest moves, you're like 48%. Big difference. You'd be a big time loser. But if you got in front of the move, you had that crystal ball, and even I don't have that. I wish I did. If you got in front of the move, you were like 60%. The best of the best, but that just shows you, like, some people probably think, oh, it'd be higher than that. It wasn't. I mean, you had that crystal ball. You got the best moves in front of the best moves of the week, every week, all the time, and you still only hit 60%.
If you're not aware of where numbers were and where they are, I don't know what to tell you. You're shooting fish blind. As I look at this odd screen here, I wanted to ask you about a game this Saturday, because of course we do have these week 0 games. Let's see if I can share this. I'm playing host and director here. This number to me has moved too much. And I thought about it today. I didn't because I was getting busy. I was packing here for New York. This one right here, 309 and 310. I don't know why I haven't laid 12.5 with Kansas yet. Like there's no reason. I have no reason for that. As I just went on this lecture about laying the right number at the right time, I was never going to lay 14 or 14.5 where it opened. But I think there's so much disdain and so much of a bad taste in people's mouths on Kansas. But good grief, man. 12.5 against Fresno. You know what? I should just bet it. Well, I'm in New York now. I'm not all logged in. That I will add Kansas eventually. I promise you. How do you feel about that one?
I've already added them, and I talk about getting good numbers. I got a bad number. I laid 13.5, thinking that might be the best number I see, because I was expecting to close 14. I think there's a little bit of hidden home field. Remember, they didn't play at home games last year. They were on the road.
In a soccer field.
They haven't had a home field probably forever, to be honest with you. Their stadiums was the worst Power 4 stadium that I've seen. And I've seen a bunch of them now at this point in my career. And now it's totally renovated. I think there'll be a ton of excitement. I'll give you another one. People seem to like Matt Entz, the new Fresno coach, because, he won 2 titles at North Dakota State. Follow that close. I bet FCS, so I was following it. That program was going in the shitter with them. They lost 4 games his last year there. Keep in mind, he wasn't there last year. He was the linebackers coach for USC. What did North Dakota State do the year he left? They're right back in business. They beat South Dakota State, who they couldn't beat for 5 years, and beat them not once but twice, and won the national championship. So they got better after he left. I'm not buying him. I like Kansas here, and I'm not high on Kansas. I bet Kansas is win total under. So it's another one where, my power rating is pretty pessimistic full season on Kansas, but yet in this individual game, it loves them. So I made the bet, even at a bad number.
Anything under 14 is a good number in my opinion. I know it could land 13, but taking shots is in the thread right now in the chat saying I'd go to 13 on that, Sammy. Yeah, I was gonna do it today, and then something happened. I think look, it's still there at MGM, DraftKings, and FanDuel, Pinnacle, and Chris also 12.5 on that one. But you're starting to see some of that go back to 13. I think my number is, let's see, I've got it 17. So
yeah, that's right. I have it too.
I'm going to bet it. I'm sorry. It should get my money. But as you know, oftentimes people come in, not only bettors and bookmakers, but the people on TV, they come into a given season with such a flavor of what happened last year. And 2 years ago, Kansas was really, really good. And you were on this show saying, be careful. Kotelnicki leaving is a big deal. He leaves Kansas, goes to Penn State. Penn State's offense was really solid last year. It took time for them to find themselves offensively, and now they're gonna reinvent the wheel. They lose Neal, the running back. They lose all those receivers. But guess what, Brad? They sucked last year, so that means they're gonna suck this year, right? Like I find myself oftentimes trying to back these teams early that didn't finish strong last year and aren't popular heading into the new year. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, everyone overreacts to what they just saw last. So you saw Kansas getting crushed by Baylor last time you saw them. So I like to know who's moving markets. I know some of the people that are behind this. Not that I don't respect them. I respect anybody that can move a market, but I also think I have an ego in this. You got to have an ego to make a bet. Not only to make a bet, but to think minus 110 against the world. I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm willing to lay 110. So anybody has ego, but I'd like to think I'm a favorite over them over the course of a college football season, the people that were betting Fresno in this game.
Just a couple more quick things here, and then I'm going to let you go because I know you're busy and you're up early. Kyle wants to know, Brad, someone gives you $100 to bet a Heisman winner. Who would you take? Now, he adds he's got Levitt and Simpson in pocket, and he wants to add one more. I know you're not going to say Arch Manning because that's not how you roll. But $100, this guy wants to add a third. He's got Levitt and got Simpson.
If I had to pick a winner, and that's all, I mean, I'm always price sensitive, but if my most likely winner is Cade Klubnik. So, and I think if he has a big game in week 1, which they're favored to do so, his odds are going to be short just after, a little bit shorter just after game 1.
A team that is either going to overachieve that nobody's talking about, or a team that's going to underachieve that everybody's talking about? Can you fill one of those gaps for me?
Underachieve. I'm going to go the Ducks, but that's getting more popular here as we finish out the fall. But that's just a team that everybody thinks, they're just, they're going to be great because they went 12-0 in the regular season last year. I think they could lose 2 or 3 games. I think they're one of those teams that's favored to make the playoffs right now. And right now, there's a reason for it when you look at the schedule, but they'd probably be, of those 8 teams that are favored to make the playoffs, I think they'd be the most likely to miss the playoffs.
In the chat, this one's very popular. Why is everyone on Hawaii against Stanford? I know that I will get text on Saturday at 7:00 at night. What are we doing in the Hawaii game? ? Hawaii in the over ? I did not bet this game. I probably won't. And I'm definitely not going to lay 2.5 when I could have taken points with Hawaii.
I have not bet the game side or total, even though we got 2 big moves here. The regret I probably have is not betting the under. That one was a regret. One of the few I have so far this season, but I don't get the Hawaii. And in fact, I'm hoping for that 3 because I will be involved on Stanford. That's who I'm looking to bet here. Stanford +3.
And I know you're not high on Stanford in totality, but
no, not at all. It'll be, they've had 4 straight 3-9 seasons. It'll be another one if they're lucky.
But that's a lesson that I think people should learn. You cannot like a team. In fact, you can hate a team, but you got to bet the teams you hate or don't like at the right number, right, Brad?
You give me the right number, I can be on a team, against a team, you name it. I can hate a team, love a team, like a team. Give me the right number, and I'll make a bet.
All right. Anything else that you'd like to throw out there? You're off the hot seat after this. I'm not going to ask a question, but if there's anything you'd like the people to know or any other thoughts or hot takes you have, let it rip, and then we'll get you out of here.
On the season, boy, I mean, I thought I already had a couple with Alabama winning. I'm not sure very many, if any, have that. And again, I think Notre Dame would be the second most likely if the quarterback is on fire. I do want to make a comment. I see you have Odds Logic as a screen. I've recently made the switch. I've cut the Don Best cord. Are you liking Odds Logic? Because I've just been using it for the last couple of days, and I actually like it quite a bit.
It's the best. Wait till you start figuring out how to color code it and move columns around and do oh man, it's changed my life. Now I know you used Don Best for a long time, but the guys that help build Don Best are building this. So it's basically not the same.
I'm price sensitive too, if you catch my drift.
Yes, yes. Oh, you don't like paying that $6.99 every
month? No, it's getting old. Not for old technology. I'll pay it, but I need updated technology. It can't be 1995 technology.
Oh, okay. See, I need to hook you up. I'm gonna make an introduction because that's what I do. I'm gonna put you in touch and
I'm good. I'm all hooked up. They got me hooked up.
Oh, they hooked you up?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, I knew you signed up. I didn't know if you were hooked up.
Hooked up.
Hell yeah. All right. That's Brad Powers. You can find him on Twitter at BradPowers7. Check the guide out, bradpowersports.com, and we will follow you on Covers and the Hit the Books podcast. Thanks again for making time for me, man. Good luck this season.
Hey, thanks for having me. Take care.
All right. There goes Brad Powers. Always comes on every football season, heading into the football season. And that's a guy that knows what he's doing. If you can't tell, if you aren't paying attention, that's what he does. I'm going to give my next guest a couple seconds here to set up because I told him to tell me what to do because he has created a new platform called Phantom Odds. And I've known Max for some time. We followed each other. He worked for several sports books over the years, and he decided, you know what? I'm going to take what I've learned. I'm going to take some of these systems and data points, and I'm going to build something myself. So let me welcome Max Meyer to the show on Chicken Dinner. And I guess give you the ability, Max, to share your screen and tell us about Phantom Odds. You have the mouse. You have the power. Anything you do, I have to accept because I just gave you full control. Welcome to the show, and tell us how you came up with Phantom Odds.
Thank you, and I'm honored that I have this level of trust on my first appearance of Chicken Dinner. Really excited to dive in, though, and thanks again for having me.
So how did this come about?
So Phantom Odds, as you were saying, I worked at sports books for 5 years. I was at Caesars. I was at Fanatics. I've just always been into sports betting, and specifically at those sports books. I would see the back end. So I'd see every single bet that came in and then come up with my own narratives that I would send out to national media. So that way, they could share on their platforms. Learned a lot from traders, but I've also always been obsessed with fantasy football. I've been in a league with my college friends for nearly a decade now. And just given that I worked at sports books, I also serve not only as the commissioner, but as the league odds maker. So with spreads, it was kind of easy because it was just, mostly pulling the projections and the margins and maybe shading it one way or the other. But I was coming up with player props, especially, if someone is up 30 and they're facing Jerry Jeudy or someone like that on Monday night, like what would be the odds that Jerry Jeudy would score 30.01 points or stuff like that? Odds for who would be the highest scoring team in the league each week. And I was surprised to see that there wasn't a tool that did this already for fantasy football, just given how popular fantasy football is, obviously how popular sports betting is, and the two go hand in hand. And I know how many people are attached to their fantasy football teams. And so I came up and along with my co-founder, who's my second cousin, we created Phantom Odds.
So for those that don't know, and I didn't know much until I just signed up earlier this week, you're able to basically integrate your fantasy teams all in one place and then kind of calculate the projections and the odds on a certain matchup. So Max, if you want to go ahead and take us through one of these pages here where you can show us sort of the interface, what it looks like, and how you can key these matchups against other guys. Cause a lot of people play in multiple leagues, and I'm looking right now, you've got all these different phantom tests, and let's pull up one of these showcases or one of these leagues and kind of walk me through what you see and how it's set up for the user to sort of capitalize on having everything in one place.
Yeah. So first, quickly, before I dive in, this isn't a sports book. This is a tool. It's a completely free tool. So all you have to do is sign in, and then the three leagues that you're able, or the three platforms you're able to sync are ESPN, Yahoo, and Sleeper. This is our first season, so we're really excited. So here is the Showcase League. This is a league that my co-founder and I drafted. So there's only 6 teams. I came up with all the puns. Hopefully they're not too dad jokey. But basically the odds show up after you draft your league because we need the with the odds. So let me show you a couple of the markets. So let's do Silence of the Lamb and Never Gives You Up. So here is the projected score from ESPN. And then here's the money line, which is that's our algorithm that calculated just based off of the margin and then converting it to money line. And then here's the spread, which is just subtracting the two, but we have alternate spreads. So right now, Silence of the Lamb is -1.5, and it shows here as +100 on both sides. Because again, we're not a sports book. These are true odds. So you can either flip the favorite. So that way Never Gives You Up is now -1.5. And you see the odds change now to -109 and +109. You can go crazy. You can do 21.5 point spread. And as you see, the odds adjust to -185 and +185. Probably not as drastic as a shift compared to, taking a -1.5 versus a -21.5 alternate spread for a sports book. But just with fantasy, there's so many different variables. So that's why the shifts aren't necessarily as extreme, even with a 20-point shift on a spread. And then the top right, you see the selected picks with a timer. This is your shopping cart. So I'll add -21.5 +185 to the shopping cart. And the reason why we have a 20-minute timer now, we're not like a sports book where the odds won't automatically update on the page. They will update throughout the week. But basically, we don't want anyone staying on the page for days and then having, stale odds and proposing it to other league members. So that's why we have the timer for 20. And then when it's actual game day and there are games going on, that timer's cut to 4. So that's customizable spread. Matchup over under, that's total. That's pretty straightforward. So I'll add an under here. Here are the starting lineups for each team. And then this market, I came up on my own. This is called Matchup MVP. So as you can see here, Patrick Mahomes, 20.27. He's the highest projected player in this matchup. Matchup MVP is picking which player you think is going to score the most points in a matchup. And this is starting lineups only. So if I pick Mahomes, even though he has the highest projected points, he's still about 9-1 because he has to outscore every single other player. But the cool thing about this is you can collect multiple players. And as you see, the odds change every time. So if you want to bet someone else and maybe you do like a little bit of a snake draft, or it's kind of like, back in elementary school, you're picking teams and you want to do something like 50-50 where you rotate which players and then you can get it close to 50-50. I'll add that to the card as well. Highest scoring team. So it's pretty even for week one, just given that it's a freshly drafted league. When it's bye weeks, the odds will be more extreme. And again, these odds will move throughout the week. So if Thursday Night Football, Eagles, Cowboys, it's what's starting the season. If CeeDee Lamb has a huge game against the Eagles and that team now all of a sudden, maybe Lamb scores 30 points and that team might be, closer to even. And then you'll see the other teams drift out a bit to maybe 5-1, 6-1, and you can bet it at any point throughout the week. So I'll add, let's go long shot here. Team point over under, that's your team total. Again, adjustable. So a chain reaction is 134.6. You can drag it and you see the odds change. You can type in whatever number you want and you see the odds change, and then you can do it from there. This is probably the easiest one to convert from sports betting to fantasy. This is over under player fantasy points. So I guess we can just do Saquon, just because I know you hit big on that Saquon offensive player of the year last year. So he's projected 20.05 on ESPN against the Cowboys. And again, you can drag it to whatever you want. Type it in. Boom. Add it to the shopping cart. And then this is the last one. This is custom matchup. So if you're in a league and, maybe you're in a league with your best friend or your fantasy rival, you really only play them once or twice during a regular season and maybe a playoff appearance for a third time if you're lucky. With this, though, you can type in, or you can put in any two teams and we will populate the odds for you. So you can bet literally any team you want in your league any single week for money line, alternate spread, or matchup over under. So I'll add that to the cart. And then our bet page. So when other people sign up in the league and everyone will see the same odds screen who's in your league, it's kind of like sending a trade. So you can click one team, you can click multiple, and then here are all the bets here. And then so if you bring it over to the bet page, you don't have to select all of them. If you decide, I don't think that this team is going to be the highest scoring team, I want to leave it out, fine. And so here are all the bets. And then the other thing, which is good for counters, because basically when you send a bet proposal, it's like sending a trade proposal in your fantasy league. You can change the custom odds. So if you get an offer and you think, oh, you know what, I think that maybe let me do another example. You know what, Mahomes and Mayfield, I think that that team should have stronger odds than plus 101. Like I think they should be odds on favorites. So let me make that minus 150. And then the odds will change from there. And then once you have your bets picked, you can type in so we use tokens because we're not a sports book, but it's 0.00. Like basically if you type in 10 tokens, like it'll give you the exact dollar amount. It's just kind of like a wink, wink. Like we're not a legal sports book. We're not a sports book at all. We're a tool. So it's basically like if you type in like $10.50 as tokens, like it'll pop up as a regular dollar amount. That's just kind of our way to make it more of a game and more entertainment, but it translates 1-to-1 to actual monetary currency. So you can do, you can bet $10. The other thing you can say, you know what, actually I want to win $50. How much do I need to bet? 33 cents. So this parlay here is about 153-to-1. And so the question I'm sure is what league mate is going to be betting 153-to-1. As much as we all love parlays, I'm sure that being on the other side of a parlay probably isn't that much fun. So besides the peer-to-peer aspect, we also launched Phantom Bank, which is basically we give everyone in your league 1,000 imaginary tokens, and we keep track of everything. Same with peer-to-peer bets. You'll see all your bet slips that you've agreed upon with your leagues at the bottom of your homepage. But with Phantom Bet, and you have 1,000 tokens, this is where you can bet the parlay. So if you want to use, 20 of your 1,000 tokens to potentially win this, we'll keep track. And then let's say you're in a 12-team league, everyone puts in $20, $240 in the pool, and you can say whoever finishes with the most tokens each week gets, the $240 in the pot. So that way you can bet whatever long shot, whatever parlay you want. and you don't have to worry about someone else taking the bet on the other side. So that's just another way to potentially sweat out fantasy football and using our odds.
I love this. You're basically gambling against your friends in the league that you already gamble with your friends in.
Yes.
I'm gonna bring the legend Corbie in here right now because I just saw Corbie realize what was going on. He jumped on a little bit late. What do you think of this interface, buddy?
Why nobody could see us behind the scene? Why did you have to tell everybody I was late, Sam? Come, what are we doing here?
Not
it's
late.
great.
You were late to Max's green room.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I was watching. It's an interesting idea. I'm all for people coming up with innovative ways to fantasy is this thing that somehow every male in America enjoys. So any way you can make this more fun, it's awesome. I'm all for the idea.
So if I get, I'm in a 12-person league, right? If I want to get, because I know not all 12 of them are going to sign up because that's how this league is. You're lucky if all of them set their lineups. But if I can get 8 people from my 12-person league to Phantom Odds and sign up, I can just gamble against the ones that sign up, right? Like it's that simple.
Exactly, because like you're saying, it's hard enough to get 12 people to agree on anything. And so we wanted to create a product that whether if you somehow have a unicorn league where all 12 are degenerates and willing to do this, I guess that is actually my main league. I guess that is the unicorn league. Or even if it's like 3 or 4 people that are just really hardcore and want to do this every week with one another, we set up for whatever league, I guess in any situation.
This is getting more and more popular because I have been to not so much like the fantasy odds scene because you're one of the first through the wall, if not the first, to do an odds engine for fantasy football. But just people want action on everything. The last 6 weddings that I've been to, 4 of them have had odd sheets at the table. How long is the speech? How long is the song? What color is the groom's pocket square? All that stuff. We all just want action, right, Corbie? We all just want something to bet on.
Yeah, I get to a wedding on Friday, and I know for a fact they're doing that because I had to help set odds. So I'm all for it, man. Anyway, listen, we won't go into Vegas stories too much, but we had people gambling on what the odd or even on the last digit of the current time. So anyway, you can gamble. Fantasy football is probably the smarter way, and it looks like you built a pretty good engine. I think that's fun. Like I think what makes fantasy football fun is like anything that you can like try to have an edge. You know, like I'll have the most degenerate friends I know. They're like, "But his PPR per," and I'm like, "Dude, you couldn't even spell PPR." So anyway, to like give them the ability to try to quantify odds and say this is a good price. I'm all for it. I think it's a funny way to enjoy some time with your friends.
And then at the end of a week, at the end of the season, like when do you do all the results driven business? Like, is it every week or is it cumulative?
So are you saying for Phantom Bank, when we release the scores for everyone, we give both options. So we show everyone's score for every week, and we also do a running tally for the entire time. And then I guess let me just show the example. I mean, there's going to be no results yet because we haven't, but we have the 3 different measures that we have. So we have best finishes. So if someone's, up 200 tokens for the week, down 100 tokens, it'll be however many people are signed up, but it'll be 1 through 12 or whatever it is. And then the winnings, it'll show how many tokens everyone's up at the end of the week. And then here's the total winnings at the bottom. And then we also have win-loss records just because, this is our first year doing this. And we do have a couple of safeguards. Like if someone doesn't have their lineup fully set, you can't bet on a market that's impacted by a non-fully set lineup. But if someone finds a glitch and you see their record is like 25-0, for instance, and in most leagues with our friends, like you think it's League of Honors, but sometimes that might not be 100% the case. You can actually view everyone's bet and then potentially dispute it if they ended up finding a glitch in the system.
I would be 25-0, Sam. If you're not paying attention to glitches, like that is me. I am the cherry picker of cherry pickers.
Oh, this is great. Well, Max, we appreciate you hopping on here. PhantomOdds.com, and that's Phantom with an F, Phantom odds.com. Check out the site. Get your friends to get in there and gamble against each other every week in fantasy. You could go over player props. You could take teams to win, teams to cover. It's a really cool tool. I'm glad you came up with it, and I'm happy to have you on the show. And man, anything else you'd like to share on the way out about Phantom Odds?
Yeah, no, just again, completely free. I mean, I worked at sports books for 5 years. I kind of seen firsthand, I just think with the industry and whether it's, shoving parlays down your throat or limiting bettors, I just wanted to give people a fun, unique betting experience that, that you're with your buddies. And I don't take a cut out of any bet. Like there isn't a fee to use this. I just want people to have a fun betting experience with their friends and with fantasy football.
Good luck with everything, and we'll talk to you down the road, buddy.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right. There goes Max Meyer, phantomodds.com. I'm sitting in this hotel room in New York City.
Yeah, I
right
see
now.
that.
I know.
See that.
I don't, the lighting is horrible in here, and I had to turn the
agree.
AC off because it was it's one of those hotel rooms. Yeah, I'm not at the Ritz,
It was first off, good impersonation of an AC unit. Second, Sammy, you're getting old, man. We gotta stop you from traveling so much. We just got back from Vegas. I talked to Scott yesterday. I got dinner with Scott yesterday. He said he just got good yesterday. I was like, all right, well, first off, that's embarrassing, but it was a long weekend, and you should be taking time off, time for yourself, time to reflect, Sammy. It's college football Saturday, this Saturday.
I want to get into college football. I know you got bets for the people, but I'm thinking now, I did Wednesday night super hard because I always go first night hard. And I got in Wednesday morning. You were already there. You and Scott were already there. I went hard. That was Naked City night when we jammed the place. Chris, by the way, the owner, said we ate 700 chicken wings. And I probably did about 12 shots of Jameson. But I went hard on Wednesday. And I kind of eased into it as much as one could on Thursday. And then Friday was like my tamest night. I flew back Saturday. And I'm an old man, Corbie. I mean, you just got out of high school. I'm an old man. Corbie did not just get out of high school, by the way. But I did 3 nights, and I landed Sunday morning, slept all day Sunday, and then it took me like 3 days to get my. You called me on Monday at 2:00 in the afternoon, and I was like, sorry, I was sleeping.
Yeah, some of us are trying to work on a Monday, but besides the point.
I worked in the morning. I worked 9 to noon.
Whatever. Yeah, listen, I will agree. I can attest, Sam. I posted a picture on Twitter of Sammy taking the Jameson shot. I think I posted that at 9:45 a.m. So it can be confirmed. I will say I actually had one of the easier Vegas trips I've ever had, which for better or worse, I had just gotten back within the same day from a bachelor trip that was 5 days long. So I wasn't feeling it. I think I went to bed before 11 every single night. So I got home. I was feeling like a man, but it was a great time. We got some great food. Shout out Naked City. The only thing I'm mad about, Sam, is I saw they gave pizzas to Guy Fieri yesterday. Fieri, however you say his name. I'm pretty mad about that. Like, I thought me and you were the coolest guys to go there, not Guy fucking Fieri. So pretty upset about that. But outside of that, it's a great time, great people. I don't know if you heard about this. I'm splitting the Survivor contest or the Westgate contest that I helped pay for. I got a 50-50 free roll in this. Noobs doesn't know anything about football. I'm going to give us college football picks. So
what?
Yeah, we're all here. He said he's going to make like funny content out of it because inevitably if I do bad, he's going to make fun of me. And if I do good, we're going to win. So Noobs luck box into winning. And then I'm going to have to put the backpack on and help him win. And then he's going to ghost me. It's going to be a good time.
He will not ghost you. We know where to find him.
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
I'm in 3 Survivors and 2 college football contests, so I can't wait for that. I was actually looking for my headphones for the show, by the way, and I keep finding these in my bag. They're tickets on Jonathan Grenard to win Defensive Player. Here's one for 100 to win 10 grand. I have multiple of these from all over town, and I keep finding them in different places. If Grenard wins Defensive Player, I'm not going to retire, but I mean, this price at this book, it was 100 and now it's 40. And you're starting to see that push, and you're also starting to see liability add up.
Yeah, I run into the same issue, Sammy. Every time I look around, I see a Tyler Glass now, Cy Young tick, and I'm like, God, get away from me.
Well, this might.
I don't want to see you.
Yours is not.
I don't want to see you. Like, go, please run far away. So I get it. Having good tickets, just both of us taking good futures here, Sam.
Well, we'll see. They have to do their jobs, but if you get 100, and I see one book down to 40, another book to 50, another one to 70. It's like, all right, you did your job. Now they got to do theirs. All right, let's pull the board up here. We got 4
Nice.
games on Saturday. I know that you're low on Stanford this year. You bet under what, 3.5 wins?
Yeah.
But you take 3
Minus-
with them, right? Against Hawaii?
Yeah, I saw you talking to Brad, and I fully agree with Brad. Like, I thought this needed to move, but it moved way too much. Hawaii has upside. Like, I think that quarterback kind of fits the Timmy Ching, like, air raid offense, or just be a psychopath offense a little better. Like, he doesn't really have the arm to be a psycho, so he kind of like is a limiter to that offense, which is good. I mean, you don't need to throw interceptions every play. So I think Hawaii has good upside. I agree with Brad. Like, the miss was the under. I took some under this morning on a Steam. I think a release was the under. I don't know who it was. It went down to 49.5. Looks like it's already back up to 51. So I get it under 52 in pocket. I'm going to take a Stanford 3 if it comes, but outside of that, yeah. I mean, I gave on Bet Sweats Stanford under 3.5 wins minus 45. It's like minus 90 now. So everybody kind of thinks this team sucks.
Yeah, I think them and Cal are both, I don't want to say equally bad, but they're both going to be horrible. I like Cal's under a little more. And then I saw the other day, was it either today or yesterday? All these days are running together. Cal decided they're not going to start Devin Brown at quarterback. They're going to start a freshman. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to bring a freshman in to stop the bleeding. They lost all their running backs in the portal. They lost a bunch of linebackers, 2 new coordinators. And now I'm being told that Ron Rivera has more juice than Justin Wilcox. So this has a potential to be disastrous. I have under 5.5, and I think minus 140. And I haven't checked it in the last day or so, but how are they getting to 6 wins? How are they getting to 6?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. This was one of those teams where at the start of spring, I actually was opposite of everybody. I was like, listen, I mean, this team's probably going to be bad. Let me pull up their number. This team's probably going to be bad, but like, okay, so just using my pre-spring, like basically March roster, I'm at 6.3 wins. So just know that basically the best they could be is 6.3, and then reduce everything that has lost in spring, all the decisions they've made through camp. Like, I mean, I would be surprised if they're at 5 wins. This is a team who brought back 51% of their return production. Like, we see, and we could talk about my UAB Blazers, but we see like good teams have return production flaws all the time. But like when bad teams do it, you start to worry, because like that's really the only thing you got going for you. You're not going to get people out of the portal. The NIL even is spending $100K on D2 kids at this point. Like, you're not going to get talent. Like, you kind of have to keep your talent. And so if a team like Cal can't keep talent, a team like UAB can't keep talent, you're in for a load of trouble.
Yeah, and Cal's starting quarterback says, I don't want to play at Cal. I want to play at Indiana. So that's where you're at right now. Cal's losing players to Indiana. I know a lot of teams are losing guys to a bunch of schools, but 10 years ago, no quarterback is leaving Cal to go to Indiana. So it's just me as an Illinois guy. Indiana's been awful forever. It's just weird to see a kid leave Cal who actually has upside. Go to Indiana.
He's a decent quarterback.
Yeah, he's fine. I know you like Avery Johnson at Kansas State,
yes,
and you moved him on our show from 66 to 1 down. Are you doing anything in the Dublin game? K-State about a 3-point favorite. That total's been up a little bit to like 50.5 right now.
I took a little bit of under. Nothing crazy. Dublin is one of those stadiums. It's like, it's tough. Like, I don't think weather's going to matter. I don't think like wind patterns. But if you remember, they sold out of beer in the third quarter last year, Sammy. Like, this place, they get the noise going, they get the rockers going. I mean, there's going to be some intensity. So I'm slightly under for my number, and I'm going to say that my fielding prowess is incorrect, because I hope they bring enough beers this time. This crowd, they purposely are juiced for this game. So I actually took, I saw this on FanDuel, I believe, Avery Johnson over 47.5 rushing yards. Iowa State last year was able to shut down Avery Johnson's pass game. I think it was like a 43% completion rating. And I've told y'all all summer, I've been telling everybody, this kid tested a 4.4 140 and a 42-inch vertical. Like, he had a concussion half of last year. So 47 yards, like if he would have played, and remember, this is the guy who was the running quarterback when Will Howard was here. Like he is a runner through and through. 47 and a half. I just think that if he played to his speed at all last year, that's probably 62. So 47 and a half rushing yards over for the quarterback of Kansas State, Avery Johnson. Also, of course, I still like the 50-1 Heisman, Sam. I am not joking when I say, like, I think this should be like 22-1. So you're getting just an unbelievable price. The kid is playing in the first game of the college football season in Ireland. Like, the reason that Kansas State people don't win is they don't have eyeballs. This is the eyeball game. And so I think if he has a crazy game, like 50-1 will not even be close. And then if he has an average game, like you basically still have a break-even ticket at 50-1.
Yeah, and even if they lose a close game, say there's a shootout, I know that you may not love the over that much because you said you played some under, right?
Yeah, not a lot. It was a very small club.
Yeah, but you'd take 42-41 Kansas State, and he has 4 touchdowns, wouldn't you?
I'd be a very happy guy. That would be completely fine with me.
You'll lose your straight bet on the total, but who cares if you got Avery Johnson stock at 66-1 and 50. John Massey's saying covered stands and an open pitch.
Yep.
So okay, good to know.
Yeah, it's I think for the last few seasons, weather hasn't really mattered. And I believe it was the Army Notre Dame game.
Was that Notre Dame Navy?
Navy.
Yeah.
It rained that game. It was pretty bad rain. I think that basically they just had to run the ball, which again didn't matter. It's Navy, so it didn't really matter. But it looks like it's supposed to rain the day before, nothing really the day of. So I'm sure weather will be fine. They'll just be having a good time in Ireland, drinking beers, watching Avery Johnson run for 100 yards and throw 4 touchdowns.
That was, I'm trying to look up right now. Yeah, that was the game. I had
42-3 is my guess score.
It was 42-3. I had over 46.
I did too. That's how I knew.
It's wild. It's wild you remember the games that you lose. If I would have won that game, I would have never remembered that.
I would have no clue who was playing. I was so mad that it was raining. I was like, dude, the rain was like the reason I bet it. I was like, Navy is not going to be able to run the ball. Like, you're just going to slip. You're going to have to throw the football. Of course, they didn't throw the football one time. That was never even in their thought process, is run the football or throw it.
Notre Dame was up 14-0 end of the first, 28-0 end of the second. They were just running the ball down their throats too, and then they stopped doing that. And then that's right. That's Navy gets down there. Here's how it ended. For those that don't remember how we lost our under 46, it's 42-0 Irish, obviously. And Navy gets across midfield finally. And Navy gets down to the 14-yard line, and with 3 minutes to go, they decide, you know what we need right now? A field goal. And they kick the field goal rather than go for the touchdown, because we all know you need that field goal to make it 42-3.
Hey, they covered the alt spreads.
Oh, that's brutal. Let's see. Anything? I don't want to go through every game week 0 because there's only 4 of them.
There's only one more that y'all haven't talked about, and it so happens to be the only game I have a sizable bet on.
Oh, so please go on.
We'll talk about it. We'll go to rotation number 307. I guess it would be 308. Give me the Western Kentucky Sam Houston State under 61.5 points. I bet this under 61.5. I walked it all the way down to like 58, and then a few days ago, a release company released it back up to 61.5, and I'm not too worried about that move anymore. So I would be fine with grabbing an under again. It's basically the same number I got. If you want like high level thought process, 2 new coaches, one comes from Abilene Christian. He brings his quarterback. Everyone's like, this kid is awesome. Like, he threw for 8,000 yards in 3 years in college. So he's gonna tear up these teams. I've heard that he's like good, but he's not crazy from some Western Kentucky friends of mine. Still, like, even if you're going to be, it takes time to adjust to the acclimation period, which is that they have a 5'11 and a 5'10 receiver. So explosive plays, I kind of throw out of the door. One of them, Sam, I couldn't run this, so I'm not going to make fun of the guy. The 5'10 guy you hear and you're like, oh, he's probably a speedster. 4.7 40. How are you a receiver? I don't get it. And then on the other side, Phil Longo, everybody's seen Phil Longo offenses. The issue is like he wants to be an air raid coach, and on paper, it's going to look like this is an air raid offense. Sam Houston doesn't just get these unbelievable recruits. They can't just change offensive schemes in an offseason. This is a team who was 119th in passing plays per game last year. They can't just take that team and be like, all right, listen, we're going to turn up the pressure a little bit. They don't have that kind of talent. So I think there's going to be some issues with efficiency. Will speed be there? Probably. It's just an efficiency thing. I think 61.5, way too high. I was at like 55.5, and then I upgraded some numbers to try to be a nice guy and say the market should be respected a little bit. The max I could get to is 58.5. So the under 61.5, plenty fine with me.
I did not even know that you were on that. How did that not come up in Vegas?
Yeah, I was busy drinking beer, Sam. I was not worried about the Sam Houston State game.
Well, I'm glad you are now, because it is only, let's see, geez, a couple sleeps away. This will be on Saturday. That's a 7:00 game. Okay, so I have Kansas. I actually haven't bet it yet, but I love that 12.5. What's your true number on Kansas and Fresno?
I think it was 14.
Yeah,
I can pull this up. I think it's the right side. The thing about like even my number, let's see.
Because they lost so much. I mean, they lost their all-time leading rusher and their 3 best receivers, and they stunk last year. So there's no appetite to bet Kansas, but I'll bet Kansas.
Yeah, I worry that this has been sitting less than a touchdown. Like, why is this not getting steamed up? I
just told you why, because people hate Kansas.
Yeah, but like, I mean, inevitably, I think that there's some kind of bias as well that like, oh, Jalen Daniel has got hurt every single year. Why should we buy into this team? It's like, okay, yeah, that's actually the reason you should buy in. Like week 0 is going to be quite literally the most healthy that he is going to be all season. So I think if you like Kansas, if you like Jalen Daniel, who is a talented quarterback, it's now or never. Like, I mean, 4 weeks in, if this kid gets hurt, they have a backup who, I mean, he looks like I could tackle him. So, I mean, they better hope he doesn't get hurt. But for now, like, he's going to be as healthy as can be. It would be Kansas now or never, basically.
Yeah, I don't know that I like them big picture, but against Fresno State, they could do it. I want to rip through some comments here and then close with anything you have future-wise or week 1-wise. This is from Bobo.
Sure.
Says, good evening, Cluckers. I missed this comment from DJ, was asking about why am I in New York? We're here for Bear Bets. So and Corbie, we got to figure this out too, because my whole schedule is upside down now. I'm going to have to probably train here every Wednesday and then train back on Thursday. Lovely 4-hour train ride from Boston to New York. So we're going to have to figure out might have to do this on Tuesday nights now.
Do it on the train. I don't know how nice trains are. I've never rode a train. Are they nice?
No, I don't want to do it on the train. Especially,
sick.
Although doing this in the quiet car train would be a move.
I'm thinking like Harry Potter train. Is that not how these trains look?
This train was not great. Internet kept going in and out. So just imagine me doing chicken dinner in a quiet car with no internet. That would be a home run. But I'll be here. I'll be here every week through, I believe, Christmas. So that'll be an adjustment for sure. Chirizi, you met Chris, one of my guys from Chicago, one of the White Sox guys. That's that cup that I woke up to that next morning.
He did.
Remember?
So
I did not.
Everybody watching.
Everyone
watching. Sammy, he posted a picture on it. He did drink that drink. He's gonna say he didn't. I told him I'd tell everybody he didn't. He drank it. I watched him drink it.
Nope, did not drink it. Got a couple others here. This is from Cadillac John, who's back in again. He's got Texas plus 115 at Ohio State. Now it's down about 10 cents. Did you make a bet on that game? I did see that the under got hit. I know Powers and those guys bet under like 50.5, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I bet under. I'm at.
At what number though? What number?
I think 49.5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's 48 now. 47 at Chris.
I make it 47.7. So if it crosses 47, it's moved too much. Though I would just be playing like the most insane middle game for a 47 or a 49. I probably wouldn't bet it, but I would consider it for a second.
Yeah, I was gonna take 3 with Texas, but I'm more down on Ohio State than I am on Texas, and I could be so wrong there.
I agree.
Look, Ohio State could win this game by a touchdown. To say that they couldn't is fucking silly. you're going to throw Sayin into the fire right away against a top 5 defense. That's not ideal. And then, moreover, Ohio State's win total is 10.5. They lose this one, they got to go 11 straight to beat me. So I like Texas. I guess I do lean Texas. If I like Ohio State's under, I should probably lean to Texas, but I don't feel the need to add any Texas straight or money line in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I just saw a comment, Cadillac John. I don't know if he's talking about Sayin or Arch. I hope it's Arch. If so, it's a hilarious comment. He said, "Kids been going to the passing. Yeah, kids been going to the passing academy since he was 4." Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of like Arch. You know, it's funny. Like I've talked about this before, but it's the human bias is like when people don't want to like a kid, they like him, and when everybody likes him, they hit him. Like I feel like last year I was the most number one Quinn Ewers. Don't put in Arch. Like keep in Quinn. Sarkisian knows what he's doing. Like I was that guy, and now this year I'm like Arch. Like let's do it. And last year everyone was like Quinn Ewers sucks. Like put in Arch, man. And now they're like Arch sucks. He's not winning the Heisman. I'm like, dude, he has done nothing to show that he is not good. The only reason I didn't want him to start is because I thought that Quinn Ewers had proven his point over a course of time through injuries to deserve the spot. And now to see the hate, I think it's hilarious. So you are right, Cadillac John. He has went to the Manning Passing Academy for quite some time. And hopefully he does good this year.
Here's one more game that I'm on. I am anti-Cal, and I know my buddy Rob is in here somewhere, good fella. He is on Oregon State money line, massive. This is week 1. They're at home against Cal, taking shots, hopping in here on the chat, saying he wants to fade Cal all year, which we talked about, and Brad and I talked about. I don't know the rotation number. Give me 1 second. Nope, not Calgary. There it is. 221, Cal and Oregon State. All right, so this is already starting to cross through 3 at a couple places. 3.5 at FanDuel. I wonder where it is. It's some of these offshore shops.
That's because your boy
Juice 3.
Your boy Brad Powers posted it on Hit the Books Monday. It moved 2.5 to 3 pretty quick. I bet the 2.5 when he talked about it. So I have 2.5s. That show, I mean, they can move lines because these are some pretty soft markets right now. So he agrees, and so do I.
Yeah, I am already invested on the money line, but look, if you can lay a cheap 3, let's see, the cheapest 3 right now, minus 107 at Forecaster. Obviously, that's an exchange. There's a couple 108s, a lot of 110s. Yeah, it's starting to get up there, man. And then, of course, we know if it gets to 3.5 everywhere, there will be the buyback because that's how it goes. Oh, here's a nice comment from Jake. Corbie is one of the best originators I have seen, hands down, and just a cool dude on top of it.
Jake, let me know where to send the money I owe you. Appreciate that shout out. I'll send me a request and I'll make sure to get you right.
That's pretty much it. We've ripped through a lot of these comments here.
I've got let's see. I'll narrow it down to 2. I'll make it fast. It's 8:16 New York time. That's past Sammy's bedtime. 2 things. First one, because we just talked about him. Oregon State. Did you know? There's no way you didn't know. I don't watch much NFL. DJU is in the NFL. Again, a guy everyone wanted to hate, and then they wanted to love, and then I'm like, pick your side. And because everybody's so, I ended up finding myself just loving DJU. I did not know he got in the NFL. He's not going to make the team, but like, I'm so hyped for my boy. If he makes the team, I'm getting a jersey. I'm DMing him on Instagram. There's no way people talk to him on Instagram. I'm getting it signed, Sammy. That's a for sure. Did you know DJU was in the NFL?
No.
I think the Chargers, undrafted free agent, I believe. So
good for him. I actually found a DJU 100-1 Heisman ticket the other day at my house. Did not win.
Yeah,
Did not win.
He got the yips so bad for a minute. He couldn't even hit a check down. So 100-1 Heisman, that's a bad bet. Whoever told you to bet that probably told you to bet Glassnow futures. Now, the second one I'll say, because this is the podcast special, and we're talking about week 1 stuff. We cannot get off this show. The first time I've been back since Sammy and I got in a fist fight. It's been a minute. We've pieced and made amends. We got to talk about.
I won the fight, by the way.
I would agree. Johnny from Best Camp helped me out. We're working on training. We're gonna get you right. Go over 2. No, where could I go for the most notable football game of the year? Week 1, Colorado in Boulder, Georgia Tech. How can you not? It's the stone's been written, Sammy. He loses his son. He loses his quote unquote second son. He loses his actual second son, but nobody talks about that. Everyone's down on Dion. He's got these health issues. And I see this total just taken down. What's the total now?
54.5.
Perfect. Total just taken down. It was 58. Then Deion Sanders had an announcement that he was going to talk with his medical team. This thing ticked down all the way to 54. Deion, I guess assuming that there would be like portal and all this stuff when Deion announced inevitably that he was leaving because he was sick. That's not what happened, of course. I bet this over. I don't understand it at all. 54.5. Anything under 55, unbelievable. I'm probably wrong because I like it too much. Like Salter is a good quarterback. He fills in for Shedeur Sanders, who of course was like pretty good, but like I think they play very similar schemes. Salter accurate as can be. It doesn't really run a ton. He has the ability to run. He had to run at Liberty a few times, but had a pretty bad year last year. I think people are probably too down on him. Georgia Tech brings back a lot of their offense. Haynes King is like an animal. I don't understand what this, do we just think Colorado's defense is good now? Like, I mean, remember, like everyone's like, well, they lost Travis Hunter and Shedeur. Travis Hunter played both sides of the ball. So like, if you're going to decrease his defense, like offense, you got to decrease the defense too. Like I mean, the defense got much worse because they lost Travis Hunter. So I think both teams fill in a lot of offensive talent. 54 is just unbelievable. I think, let me tell you what I made my number. I'm curious at this point.
59.5 is my guess.
I think that you were correct.
Really?
60.4.
Ooh.
Granted, I think that's probably too high. I like to respect the market and say that I'm just an idiot that looks like he's 20 years old, and my opinion is worth something, but probably not better than like a massive steam move. But like even if you regressed my number twice, we're at 57, and like getting a 54, 55 is like a massive key number. I think it's a great bet.
Anything else before we get out of here? Because I don't trust this internet as far as I can throw it. And this is why, like, I don't, like, my setup is not great. I'm shooting uphill, so I look doughy, even though I look really good in person. See, if I just held it up, I would look like, hey, look
great.
Yeah,
now.
right.
Whoa.
And that's where all the action, where all the action doesn't happen tonight. Yeah, like, this is not a great setup. So I can't do this every Wednesday night in a hotel room. And then by Thursday, it's too late. We might have to do Tuesday.
Hey. Listen, you know, I am one call and $1,000 away, and then every time you want me, send me $1,000 and just shoot me a call, and I'll be on chicken.
Take this ticket. You can have this. Does that count? That's 10,000.
Or just give me some chicken wings once a year at Naked City, and I'll be a happy guy.
Such a great time. I think we're going back for Super Bowl too to Vegas.
You twisted my arm, Sam. I'll be there.
Well, you've been there twice now with me. You know how it goes.
Yep.
Let's see. Any other comments? Oh, Cadillac John, great show. Thanks, fellas. Yeah, we've got 2,800 people watching this thing live, which is absurd to me on a Wednesday, but that's the love that people have for Brad Powers, for Max Meyer, and most importantly, the very handsome Corbie Craig at Corbie B-O. Anything else before we say goodbye?
No, I felt like I had something important, something to end the show off with, but I forgot what it was. So, oh, no, I do know what it was. I fixed a whiskey Diet Coke from a welcome back to chicken dinner. I left it in the kitchen, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not upset about it, Sam. I don't want to see alcohol for the next probably 3 weeks. So I'm happy it's not here, but I did make one in memory of you and I. So no drinks though.
Lovely. I'm about to actually go to the bar. So some of us are just ready to go, and some of us need time to recover. You know, that's how it goes. Thank you for tuning in. 2,800 people watching live on YouTube and X. If you need anything from Chicken Dinner, it's simple. Go to YouTube, click that button, subscribe at Bet Chicken Dinner, and we will talk to you next week. For Corbie, for Sammy P, talk to you next time on Chicken Dinner.
Do I look like